process is driven by the company involved business logic, as in what they want to happen.
Correct.
So if they've got a business rule that says every new customer must have a salesperson attached to it,
Yep.
and that dimension is that's one of the dimensions,
Yep.
then all we're doing is enforcing that business rule.
Correct. Yeah. It's something that is so simple and a bit like data validation, I suppose.
It's there to stop future problems and headaches for everybody.
Just to make sure you don't end up with we've got 6 months worth of data without the correct dimensions. For certain tables, master data tables like customers and items and work centres, you can say what the default dimensions should be when that master data is used in its appropriate context. So we're, as well as populating the new dimension values, we're also populating the default dimensions. And it's those default dimensions which will become the dimension values on new documents that those pieces of master data are used in, whatever they are. It's only a small piece of development, but it's quite a big problem if you've posted half a year's worth of data and you realise you should have had some dimensions which you forgot about. And it's quite a common problem. Yeah, and it's very easy to do. It's very easy to create a new customer and forget about the default dimensions.
So which are the main areas that people would generally use this for? So is it those master tables, the customer, vendor?
If I go back to the dimensions list, and just go to account type, default dimension. When you look at the table ID, these are the different tables that can have default dimensions associated with them.
Right.
Almost everyone will have customer, vendor, item default dimensions. You possibly would also have GL account default dimensions to prevent you from posting transactions to a GL account which doesn't have the dimensions that you need to analyse what's gone into that GL account properly. It's possible to have dimensions against the manufacturing tables, the work centre. That's less common. And service, we don't have many customers who actually use the service. Say, and this is something our customers do quite a lot, you might have a dimension for customers and you want to have a new dimension value for every customer that you create. So in that case, you could say, well, the source of the values for this new dimension I'm creating is the customer table. And again, I'll take the field 2 as the value for the name of the dimension. Obviously, having just created it, there are no dimension values, and normally I'd go down and fill the dimension values in manually. But because we're associating it with a source table, we'd say just populate them automatically and you'd get all the dimension values. And then when you created a new customer, because it's being used as a source, then it would create the new dimension value for you. So the second part, you start with a dimension, so let's say the customer, and you say which types of master data should this dimension be a default for. So if I'm creating a customer dimension, it's probably because I want that to be associated with the customer record itself. So I'm now saying for the customer dimension and the customer table, I want to create a default dimension based on the customer number, and I want it to be the same code. So if I create another new customer now, test customer 2, and dimensions. I've got a customer dimension with a value that matches the customer itself, and I've still got the salesperson dimension as well, based on the salesperson code that I select. The more you can set up front of your dimension rules in your structure, and make sure it's correct on your master data, you should minimise the sorts of problems you'll run into.